Dan Shonka, I hope you've had a great football season. Welcome back to Tuscaloosa, my friend.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Ryan. Yeah, it's headed now toward the national championship, and then everything starts rolling fast to the combine. You got the All-Star games before the Super Bowl and all that. You got the East-West. You got the Senior Bowl. You got all the guys working out for the combine, and it's all. And guys are getting better now because right now there's a lot of guys that were backups last year, or they're graduate transfers, or what have you, and they've gotten their offenses and defenses, and they're all improving, and they've got about 3 more weeks, I guess, to get better and have bowl games. So, yeah, it's kind of an exciting time to watch these guys.
Dan, let's go back pre-injury with Tua Tagovailoa. Before the injury happens, where was his stock at?
Well, we had him graded as our top quarterback. I mean, there's few quarterbacks that have his accuracy and his touch on the ball, his deep accuracy. We talked before, Ryan, about, in my mind, a quarterback, he's got to process information quickly, and he's got to be able to be accurate to even, get on the NFL field and get in the ballpark to be successful. Now, there's guys that defy that, and they're not very good, and they'll always be mediocre quarterbacks, but those guys, special guys that can put that ball, the ball placement it's beyond actually. Ball placement is where you can keep that ball in place where the receiver can catch it and stride, not slow down for the ball and things like that, and have that great touch. And that's what Tua had, and he has it better than anybody in this draft, although, there are a couple other quarterbacks that are pretty good quarterbacks, and they may ascend also, but Tua was the top one for the injury.
All right, when he goes down with a hip injury this weekend, what do you think that did for his stock value in the NFL draft?
Ryan, at first, you heard all the rumors out there and the Twitter world saying it was a Bo Jackson injury and all that, and I think, the best news that I got, and I'm sure a lot of people and Alabama fans, was that things came out okay during the surgery. It might not have been as bad as everybody first thought, and it was a positive outcome to a very bad situation. So, each team is going to look at Tua different. Okay, there's 32 ball clubs out there that will say, well, he's had these ankle surgeries, ankle surgery in each ankle. He's had the hip. Is there something structurally defective, within his body, or is that just something that happened to him? Like I said, there's 32 opinions. They all got tons of doctors, and some people may take Tua off their board, or just take him at the right time. Say, hey, if he happens to last to the, third round or something, we'd take him. But that's highly unlikely. I think that, once he gets into rehab and get that hip squared away, and that we'll see what happens. But it would not surprise me if some people would put 2 other quarterbacks that have not had injury histories ahead of him.
Well, if you were advising Tua Tagovailoa, not knowing what this rehab is, there any way that you think that maybe he should go back to Tuscaloosa, come back here, go for another year, or do you think he should put his name in the hat and go take the money and run?
Well, I always favor coming back, to get a rehab at the school, and you're on your teammates, and it's a more comfortable situation because you know everybody. Hey, you know your classmates, you know the city, and then rehab and get ready to go for the next year. Now, depending on where he would go, which is, it's too bad. Like and what is it, basketball or something? They say that you can pull your name out of the hat if you're not going to go in the top so-and-so picks or
sure,
what have you, or, I think it's too bad that they can't do that in football, but, he's going to get plenty of advice. from people that will want to draft him, maybe in the top 10, top 5, whatever. They might say, well, but they'll put contingencies in the contract, or, there's so a myriad of things that can go on. But he's going to be advised and pulled and tugged different ways. It's been, obviously Tua has a great family and surrounding and support from his family, and I'm sure they'll have a good talk and see what they want to do. I'm sure Coach Saban is going to be involved in the circle there and give his opinion, which would hold a lot of weight because he's seen numerous things over his 40-some years in coaching, and he can offer up his, advice on what he's seen people do. And so I think it's just going to be a thing that down the road, I guess we'll all wait to see what he's going to do. My preference would be I'd like to see him come back and get 100% and then come out and show what he's been doing the last couple of years. But, again, it's a family situation, and if somebody's going to throw $20 million at you, that's kind of hard to say no to.
Dan, when you look at this advisory committee, because of the injury and the unknown, this is going to be a little bit of a different situation. You follow this a lot closer, but a school submits so many names to the NFL draft advisory board and they get some type of grade. You're not really going to be able to do that with Tua Tagovailoa because nobody's really going to know, or are you going to be able to do that? I mean, because you don't know the health and, how close is he going to be able to throw? Is he going to be able to get up workouts, in early April, late March to be able to showcase his NFL ability?
Yeah, and each case is different, but generally in my experience, Ryan, they lean to the conservative side. Like if a guy, looks like he might be a first rounder, they might say he's a second round guy,
okay.
But it depends on the committee makeup and, if it changes with, player personnel directors and things like that on there. So it does change because the personnel changes on how, they would advise these guys. But I think generally they lean, like if a guy's, looks like he's a third-round guy, well, they might say, well, you're fourth or fifth, and then a guy will say, well, hey, some guys will say, hey, I'll go in the draft anywhere and anyway and take the fourth and fifth round money, where other people will say, hey, I'll come back and try to raise my stock the next year. But I would think the advisory committee, I think they'll lean to the conservative part, which means they would probably advise him to come back. But again, it's going to be a family, a family situation to make that decision.
We're talking to Dan Shonka. He's combined about 40 years of experience when you talk about the NFL draft. Ourlads.com. When you look at another guy that went through an injury, Dylan Moses, a guy that got injured prior to the start of the season, would he be on the NFL radar with his potential, or does he need to really come back and come off this ACL injury? I mean, when you look at Dylan Moses, I'm sure he was on your draft board going into the season, but prior to the start of the season, the ACL injury. What do you think about Dylan Moses?
Yeah, he was, Ryan. He was in our top 32 starting the season, and I think what teams will do, we graded him on his juniors, or I guess be sophomore film, and last year's film before he was injured and things, and that's kind of where your grade stands because there hasn't been anything to change that on the field grade. Now his medal and all 32 teams, they grade these guys medically also, and obviously his would have went down a little bit because of the injury, but when he's back 100%, and a lot of these guys, come back almost better than ever, after they rehab their knees and things anymore. And so I would think, his medical grade will go up, and then, we'll see if he's going to play another year or if he's going to, just go ahead and go through, work out in the off season and get ready for the combine.
Jerry Jeudy, how high is he on your board?
I'll tell you, he's a top receiver. The other day I was talking to newspapers up in New York, and they asked me about, the Jets, what they're looking at, at their selection. I believe it was 5, and they need a receiver. The other positions they need are going to be gone. Pass rusher, I think Chase Young's going to be gone. Well, I know he'll be gone, but he'll be gone top 3 somewhere. But anyway, I think Judy's the top receiver. Is he the fastest guy? No, he's not the fastest guy at Alabama, but is he smart? Does he run great routes? Is he a very heady receiver? Does he make the big plays? Can he block? Everything's like yes, all the pluses down there. And he's fast enough, as they say in the business. And but he's our top receiver. And I really believe he'll go top 10, and it would not shock me if he went to the Jets at their pick at 5.
Another guy that I've had a chance to watch, and I don't really know when I see a lot of the projections. Is Alex Leatherwood, in your opinion, a first-rounder?
That's a very good question, because I know some people that like Willis a little bit and got him graded a little higher than Leatherwood. So to answer your question, some people may put Leatherwood at the bottom of one, and the reason is, hey, you see the games on Sunday. Everybody needs blockers. They can't wait till the next blocker comes out. You know what I mean? Because everybody needs those big tackles. And I think that even if Leatherwood isn't quite what, somebody wants, they may go ahead and take him late in the first round. So, I would, at least right now it's way early because we don't know all the juniors are going to come out. But I tell you, a lot of people like that other tackle, Willis, so he may end up getting drafted ahead of Leatherwood.
How about a guy like Henry Ruggs and Devontae Smith? I mean, we've watched all these wide receivers, and sometimes all of them are dynamic. Do you see those guys as first-rounders?
I tell you, very well could. Now, this is a premier year for receivers around the country. I mean, Ryan, I've been doing this a long time, at least 30 years in the NFL, and I don't know if I've seen a better year with all these receivers. I mean, there's fast ones, quick ones, big ones, strong ones. Most of them can block. They can sink their hips coming out the break. I mean, they'll extend and catch the ball in their hands away from their bodies. I mean, it's quite a crew. I mean, they're big, strong guys that, their body, they'll body up in the end zone and just like, basketball forward, screen off a guy, catch the ball, away from the defender. They're very heady. But, that being said, Alabama's still got the guys that I would really be surprised. I mean, in fact, I'd be shocked if Smith and Ruggs, they got to go, and they'll probably. I could see somebody taking them in the late 1, but I mean they'll definitely not get out of 2, and they'll probably be in the top 50 picks. But again, it just kind of depends on because there's so many receivers. What some people will do is say, well, you know what, I can't get Ruggs. We could get Ruggs now at 1, but we really need this tackle because we got to have somebody to protect our quarterback. So then Ruggs gets moved down. Then even if they lose him, they could get another receiver that might not be quite as good, but will do what they want him to do in their offense, So they're both first-round. The other two are both first-round talents, but whether they go there, only time will tell. I know when they run that 4-3 or, 4-2-9, all of a sudden everybody's going to say, well, maybe we ought to take those guys in the first round,
Let me go to the defensive side of the football. Terrell Lewis and Xavier McKinney, 2 juniors that have been on everybody's draft board. When you look at Terrell Lewis, have you seen enough from the injury standpoint? Because he's had a lot of injuries. Seemed like every year he's had to battle that, and that may be part of his decision of coming out. But a guy like Terrell Lewis, where do you see him fitting in?
Well, first of all, now everybody's looking at these linebackers as cover guys, and they got to be able to run and they got to be able to cover. If they can play a Sam linebacker, run tight ends up the seam, or go to the flat, drop in either in a zone, line up and go man to man with them. It's going to be that determination. But again, it's going to be doctors that kind of make the final decision. On the smart teams do that. They'll put them through the mill. In fact, a lot of times, I've been in so many combines. Guys come in there. They're not injured going in. Sometimes with all the twisting and tearing and flipping them around and all that, they're pretty sore coming out. So they might have an injury from all those doctors twisting and turning because they'll all bring in all the teams. There's going to be 100 doctors looking at these guys. At least just maybe on their extremities alone, and that's not counting X-rays going over to the hospital and things like that. So, but that'd be the big thing about Lewis. The injury situation we'll see how that holds up.
Xavier McKinney?
Really a good player, well thought of, a versatile guy that, people like the good-sized safeties, and there's a need now because, when you watch Sunday football, the base defense anymore is a 4-2-5, and some teams use that extra defensive back as a safety, the big nickel. You use three safeties back there, and the teams that do, McKinney's going to be high on their board. Now, he's in our top 32 players right now, but again, until you get verified information, Ryan, and that's what the combine's good for, is, how fast can the guy run? What is it exactly? Is he 6'1", or is he 5'11"? And I know it doesn't sound like a big thing, but some people really use those metrics to tighten things up. And to get the verified information is critical when you're putting together. Now, if it's only, a smidgen or what have you, it's no big deal. But, you want to see what a guy can run. To me, that's a big metric. And then things they do off the different type of running, where the shuttle, how loose their hips are, and things like that.
Dan Shonka, ourlads.com makes it so easy. I use it right here in front of me, and you go and you've got the depth charts of all these different college teams, which you guys – the Alabama depth chart, you have to update it almost every week because of all the amount of injuries. So that's a full-time job within itself. But I like the one thing, you go to the team page and you look at the 65 active NFL players. You click on that, and it takes you every single one of the players from the University of Alabama. So those websites out there, that's just hard, a lot of great information. Ourlads.com. Dan, tell us more about the website and how folks can get in contact with everything that you're offering there.
Well, I'll tell you what, Alabama looks like a Christmas tree. There's so many colors on it there. We color the depth charts for all the seniors and things, where we got them rated, like right now. And that's so volatile because it does move. Some of the guys that we had maybe in the 5th, 6th round earlier in the year, they might be down in the black range, which is like 7th round priority free agents. There's other guys that are 7th round priority free agent that might have moved up into the red, which is the 3rd and 4th round. So that's constantly moving, and sometimes we're behind the 8 ball a little bit because of all these juniors and transfers, the graduate transfers. They're just kind of, really coming into their own right now toward the end of the season. So we, have to adjust that to see how they do. I mean, look at Burrow. When he started the year, he was, probably 5th, 6th quarterback out there, and now he's one of the top quarterbacks out there. One of the top 3 probably, and so the thing is so volatile. The guys improve, and they get a new coordinator, or they go the other way too. Now, some guys, if they don't have a good coordinator or they don't fit in the scheme the new coordinator's bringing in, then they can backslide. But those are the guys you want to keep track of because, hey, if they were really good a year ago in one scheme, they'll be able to fit in that scheme in the NFL the next year. So, but there's a lot of good things. We've got the East-West Shrine Game invitation acceptances on there, the Senior Bowl acceptances on there, but the NFL depth charts are updated daily because of transactions. College are updated once or twice a week, and so just go to ourlads.com and click on your pleasure and look away.
Well, it's a lot of great information. You can also connect with Dan on the Twitter account. It's straight up at @ourlads_Shonka. Dan, as always, we appreciate your time. I've enjoyed the conversation. It's great to be able to catch up with you, and I know we'll talk very, very soon. Thank you again, and happy Thanksgiving from all of us here in T-Town.
Hey, same here. Thank you so much. Roll Tide.